Hey, welcome back. Welcome back to the Scorpio channel. My name is Laura. If you're new to the channel, I'm going to do a general message for Scorpio. Know that energy is fluid. Roles can be reversed. Interpret the message as it best resonates with you. Also know on this channel, I like to dive deep within the reading. So I do look at everything, but we take time to look at the spiritual blocks, the shadows, and see how they play out as karmic themes. This will allow you to understand why everything's playing out the way that it is, why your person's acting the way that they are, why you're attracting that person into your life. What is the spiritual significance and what you can possibly do to change the entire dynamic of the connection, but you'll always be able to shape shift the connection. All right, because there's many different realities that play out at one time. Your level of consciousness is going to determine what you do, what manifests, because your habits and your behaviorisms are based on those core beliefs. So healing means a lot of times integrating the spiritual lesson, understanding what that core belief was. Again, and that core belief is always what plays out karmically. So again, many different ways a situation can play out. That's why a lot of times if you tune into the same reader, you'll notice the same storyline, but the outcome's a little bit different because people change what they're going to do based on the information that they have. All right. Now, want to enter into winning free reading with me? Got to like the video, subscribe to the channel, write the word of the video in your comment bar. The word of the video is always on the first card that I pull out. And it's the underlying energy that tells me why everyone's doing what they're doing. Very important when we're looking at shadows. Now, I like to start off by looking at the shadows, but I know that just because people have shadows doesn't mean that they don't have feelings. That's the oxymoron. That's the paradox of the situation. A lot of times the situation is that you're dealing with somebody that is a soulmate. It's just they may be a karmic mate. They may be a twin flame. They may be, again, they're a connection that it has spiritual significance, which means that the universe has orchestrated this connection to help you become aware of things that you need to heal in order to evolve into the next level of consciousness. Sometimes that's the reason why. There's always a reason is what I'm trying to get at. So even your most insignificant relationships, or you're like, well, that relationship was horrible. All of it was horrible. The person treated me badly, the person or it didn't go anywhere. It was like a waste of my time. Every relationship has spiritual significance because every relationship has the potential to show you something about yourself, something that a lot of times when you're dealing with karmics need to be healed. Sometimes it could actually, create awareness of gifts too. I mean, not all wounds are what are hidden in the shadows. Sometimes our gifts are just underdeveloped parts of ourselves. Determination is the first card that has come out. That's the word that you're going to write in the video, but I'm going to pull another 2 cards just to go deeper into the energy. Narcissism. Ugh. See, that took on a whole other meaning right there. Just like, just totally brought the energy down, right? And self-righteous. This card doesn't even belong in this deck, okay? Like that just goes to show you, I'm going to pull another one. That's crazy because it's like, what? That means that spirit wanted that card there. And then peace, which is actually the right? That is going to be determination. But understand this story, Mimi Guns, and you'll be a winner. Don't worry. Just reach out to me through my email. Remind me. Determination. When we're dealing with someone that's a narcissist, it's more about a win-lose situation. It's about dominant. It's about control. Where, again, I feel like someone is really determined to come back into your life. And they are so because you do bring them peace. There is a comfort because all soul relationships feel like home. And I feel like you also told this person exactly like, hey, listen, if you're going to keep going down the same road that you're going, I'm not going to be sticking around. That's number one. But number two, you're going to ruin your life. I feel like you told this person this, but they were so self-righteous. They wanted to do what they wanted to do when they wanted to do it. I feel a lot of reckless energy, and narcissism obviously means that the person only cared about themselves. So again, they could talk to multiple people. They didn't really care about how you felt. Now, almost like they wanted to have their cake and eat it too. Um, but then there was also this energy of that's very indulgent. And so almost like someone that has a root chakra imbalance, and the more that you give them, the more that they want. They have very excessive energy, which is almost like manic, is bipolar, which happens a lot of times with narcissists. It's because you can't live that imbalance psychologically and think it's not going to affect you energetically and emotionally. It does. Just when you look at the person, you're like, you're a narcissist. And you're also like, tend to be all over the place, and understand, yes, that's their energy. Now you have to say, I want to know why this person was connected to me. Obviously, we would always want to know that, because we don't want to attract energy like this into our lives. But we always have to look and see how the person, how their narcissism played out within the connection, to make sure that it's your story. This again, transformation, turning fears into strength as you step into your power. So again, now I don't believe in any mistakes, but this card also did not belong in this deck. So I'm feeling like that this connection is all about helping you to transform, and actually this person too, because there is a soul connection, and awareness of the emotions is a gateway to spiritual healing. I feel like that they, believe it or not, that this person is very insecure. They tend to act very self-righteous, but they're insecure, and they're insecure because when they get into a relationship, they tend to lose themselves, and they tend to be really dutiful to the people that have actually gained their trust. I feel like this person grew up in an environment that was not balanced, that it was, again, there was a lot of codependency. There was a lot of the behaviorisms that this person plays out within their narcissism was actually taught. And so it was like there was one person that had all the dominant energy in the home. And so they were taught as a child, in order to survive, to be dutiful, to not really have a personality, to be a chameleon, to, be of service to what is happening in the environment. So when we grow up in an environment that's really, like, if you have a narcissistic parent, again, your parent is acting like they are an extension of you. So you're not really allowed to have a personality. All your energy goes to, trying to create balance in the family. So the child never becomes a child, is what I'm getting at. So the thing is, they get into relationships, and if they get into a relationship, they lose themselves completely, because there's no sense of self. You have to, there's a reason why it says be like childlike in the Bible, because children go out and they find themselves. They utilize whatever's in their environment to create themselves. We as adults need to do that too, because we're continuously metamorphosing. We're continuously changing and evolving, or should be. This person hasn't, though, because they become a chameleon. Being a chameleon is, molding to your environment, but then hating your life, because you always have to come from your true self, your higher self. Otherwise, you wind up teaching people unconsciously that, you are going to be of service, and your feelings don't matter, because you're not establishing boundaries as you go. And that becomes from the fact that this person doesn't have a good self-esteem about themselves. Again, lost, don't know their purpose, don't really know what to do. And that's what the problem comes from. When you are brought up in an environment with very dominant people, you have to learn how to set boundaries. you have to, first of all, have a good sense of self in order to set appropriate boundaries. So automatically, this person doesn't do that. They come in to the relationship and they become who you want them to become, but then it's not comfortable. So they have trust issues because then, you're trying to control me. You're trying to do where it's like, I'm not trying to control you. You're the one that came into my life like this. And they become very rebellious, like I said. And that's because they don't want to seem weak. They don't want to become subservient. It's almost like they begin to realize that they lose themselves completely in the relationship, and then they become rebellious. And I feel like this person kind of just came into your situation, and you never got the dutiful energy. You got the rebellious energy. You're like, okay, well, they never came in that way to me. Yeah, because they emotionally never allowed that emotional connection to happen, because they already knew that it would happen because of the spiritual connection. So if I don't give you anything, nothing is going to grow. Yeah, you understand? They don't want anything to grow. They wanted, you to have feelings, that your feelings would grow. Hey. So again, like, this person like would see everything that you would say as confrontation, like that you were confronting them, where I don't think that you'd confronting them, but I think that you have to set boundaries in a relationship. And this person didn't want you to set boundaries in a relationship. They wanted to kind of like play it as it goes, but then also not give you any type of stability, which is like, well, why do I need to be in a relationship with somebody that doesn't give me anything? Right? It's like it depletes you. That begins to make you feel bad about yourself, tries to make you feel unworthy, which is part of this person's psychological manipulation, being a narcissist. They're not going to get what they want, making you feel good about yourself, right? It's going to be to try to suppress you. And unfortunately, you might say, like, why is this happening so often? Well, we live in a society that is spiritually sick, becoming more and more and more spiritually sick. Every time people go to work and they can't make money, every time they're in a relationship and relationships don't work and they don't heal themselves, what happens is it becomes like an imprint in the mind, and how we manifest this through the thoughts that we think, the emotions that we have. The person that has already embodied what it feels like to be in a failed relationship. So they don't really believe that they can have love. And that started at such a young age with this person that, unfortunately, they're going to be masters of manipulation, because they've been wearing different masks the whole time, because they have felt insecure for a really long time within their life. So it creates a lot of mistrust, which is, at intimacy at its basic level is all about trust. So I feel like this person will come in really hot and lustful, but then, the energy, because there was no emotional connection, like, you have to give to the connection. You can't just take from the connection in order to build that bond. So I feel like it always ruins the connection. So this person's like, well, all I know is that relationships go from hot and heavy to like cold, and that they don't have balance, because narcissists don't have balance. They only care about themselves. For a relationship to be able to maintain, it has to be equal give and take, reciprocity, where there's actually a flow of energy. We're energy beings, and our energy needs to flow. So if a person's continually making you mad because they're not showing up, it lowers your energy. And this is where the narcissist has their power, because then they can just come in and breadcrumb you, and you're gonna think that it's enough. And that their energy is like stubborn. They don't really want to change. They're very narrow-minded in changing, because this is what they've lived. So they will recreate the self-fulfilling prophecy. and that, they can't really be loved, so they need to dominate the connection, they need to control the connection, because when they get into a connection with real people, or the people that have been in their life, that could be their mother, their father, their siblings, people that they grew up with, that those people have too much power over them. So it's like you see this person's personality is fragmented. You're like, I'm not getting that version. I'm getting the mean version of them. And it's like, yeah, because they're walking around devaluing themselves. And so they're walking around really angry, because you can't walk around and really be present and really be in the moment and successful at life and be angry all the time, because you're living someone else's life. So if they're feeling suppressed, like they can't really have love, it doesn't mean that they're not going to desire love. They're going to go for the next best thing, which is a counterfeit version of love, which is about passion, control, dominance, which we know that that's karmic. It's karmic because it brings pain. So again, doesn't mean that this person doesn't think that that's love. That's the irony. And that's why you would feel like, no, I really feel like they care. It's like they do. That's their version of caring. So again, so they stay stuck, because part of them would need to surrender their ego and change in order for them not to be stuck, because you're not doing anything. Understand, you got to the point where you're like, oh, well, it's, again, you're not really doing anything for me. And part of your transformation is to handle things differently. If you're not getting what you need emotionally, well, clearly it's not to like fight for the connection just because the person is lost. They don't know who they are. That has nothing to do with that. It's they've been walking around thinking that they're whoever their narcissistic parent told them that they are, and then recreating experiences that tell them that unconsciously, and mainly because they're stubborn. They don't trust people, but they're the ones that you really can't trust. That's the irony. So they're not awake. And so again, it's like what happens is that this person has lost faith. I feel like you're losing faith, because you're like, well, you never show me anything different. You never show me anything different. So I don't really understand. What do you really feel? We have to say, what does this person really feel? And what are they doing now? Because understand, sometimes it'll shock you. They really do care, and this is what it looks like. And it's not so that you can run back with this person, but it's to realize that spiritual blocks doesn't mean that the person doesn't have feelings. It says more about them, what they've gone through, and the experiences. That is why they've created certain behaviorism, so you can then look at the situation differently. And a lot of times when you are able to look at the situation differently, you're not also able to integrate your spiritual blocks, but you're able to say, hey, this doesn't belong to me. This belongs to you. So it doesn't affect you going into the next relationship. Relationships, when you get involved with a narcissist, well, it's damaging, because they are actually, the time that you're staying connected to them, they're reprogramming your mind to, again, settle for less, to believe that no matter what you're asking for is going to be too much, that you're a bother. And so you have to know that is a karmic, that's normally a karmic theme that plays out in your life. It doesn't just happen once you're with a narcissist. You will have other people come into your life and treat you the same way. And a lot of times it happens because you were made to feel that way to begin with. So when spirit and the universe is saying, hey, this needs to get clear, it's like you're not aware of it. But if that is a spiritual thing that keeps playing out, that's the karmic theme that keeps continually played out. So you have to heal it in order to evolve into a higher state of consciousness, so that you can attract someone that's a lot more in alignment with who you are today, with what you want today, not with what is in alignment with those traumas. If nothing is you haven't created enough life. Now, that doesn't mean that you haven't tried to do healing. It might mean that you've actually tried to do too much healing and haven't created enough life. When we create enough life, we create new neurological pathways within the mind. You create new opportunities, you meet new people, and the universe always conspires to bring you what you need to help you along on your path. See, this person, like I said, is like they have a lot of addictions. They have a lot of addictions. They go from one way to avoid to another way to avoid. So again, like they overeat. So they get caught up in this excessive behavior, and that's a form of suppression. So you've removed yourself. You're not putting up with it. You're not giving anything to this person. You're not coming in to be the rescuer or the savior, which is always what this person expects. So they have to bide their time. Narcissists are very insecure. They have anxiety too. So I think it just plays out within suppression, which is usually addiction of some sort. It's just avoidant behavior. It's again where really they long to belong. That's really what they want. They don't really believe that they can have it. And they can't have it the way that they are. And they're too lazy to really change that. And there's a sense of victimization of, no, well, you don't understand. This always plays out. And so they're always the victim instead of actually changing. And in that, when you're in a relationship with them, all they do is project. Because when you don't integrate the spiritual lesson, that's what's going to happen. It's like you're going to get into relationships. Those same karmic themes are going to play out. And this person needs to control. They get the same response from every single person. They don't get good responses when the relationship is just one way. They kind of know that, but it's like they still won't take responsibility. And that's what the issue is. It's like, because it's all about fear of change. And when we have spiritual blocks, what does it mean? It's that we're in a place of fear. We have it in a place of fear. Why? Because of the experiences that we lived. And what this person doesn't realize is that they are out of that, environment that made them have to only care about themselves, which is what a narcissist does. They don't need to do that. They've gotten many opportunities to change, but seeing things like through the distorted perception of the wound, like there's a lot of just trained behaviorisms. That's why it said to heal, it's not just about integrating the spiritual lesson. You got to create a new life. You got to create new neurological pathways because there's automatic behavior. This person just can't help it. It's like an addiction. It's like, I need a drink. Well, it's like, I need to control. It's like, you trigger me. You trigger me because if you're getting attention, you trigger me if you, again, do something that I don't want you to do. It's a form of dominance, and it's done because a person is continually being triggered. So try being in a relationship with someone like that. It's like they have to heal before they can actually be in a healthy type of relationship. Because like I said, it's all about them triggering you then. Because then you're like, okay, well, then I'm going to walk on eggshells and I'm not going to really do anything. Well, the spirit says that's still not going to work. Because this person always creates drama within their relationships. It's like they're not comfortable when their relationship is like a normal, healthy connection. They get bored. It's like, and that's because there's a lacking within inside of them. It has nothing to do with you. So it's like anything can trigger them. Even their own internal thoughts will trigger them. So you think that everything will be fine and things are not fine. And you'll think that it's something that you did, or this person will try to make you feel as if it's something that you did when it's nothing that you did. So you're constantly being around someone that is giving you mixed messages, and you begin to then wait for that little string of cheese, that is like with the rats with the bell. And it's not that this person's not even aware that they do it. It's like there's a lot of manic energy with this person. So we see bipolar and manic a lot of times are together. Why is that? Well, because it's like the need to control releases that dopamine hit, almost like the same as taking a drink or cheating, creating drama. It's all about recreating that same dynamic that they grew up in, where it's like very addictive behavior. And it's all about, again, what did I say? Dominance, control, and disempowering you. So I feel like that narcissists tend to always go for what they perceive as a cream of the crop, someone that they feel like is would make them look good at the very least. And that could be that you're just a good person, or that you have like are seen as someone that's very likable. Remember, the narcissist doesn't like who they are and usually has very poor relationships because no one wants to be around selfish people. And eventually the jig is always up, meaning the mask always falls off. So the person doesn't have long-term relationships. They need to continually like reinvent themselves to like fix themselves. So they tend to seek out people that are going to be their host. That's really what it is. It's almost like this person is empty, where you'd say on a spiritual level, you might even think that they had a lot of attachments, or like entities attached to them that take their energy, when it's like they're like, no, spirit says is that they haven't created themselves, so they are empty. And when you are empty, you do have attachments like that come to you because you're empty. So like I said, it's that this person hasn't created themselves. So what they've created is the same life that they grew up in. That's always what it evolves back into. Yeah, sure, they can live a certain amount of time where things are okay and they obtain money, or they've learned to master certain things in their life, but they certainly haven't mastered relationships, because the same type of relationship always plays out, and they are the main common denominator to that. And it's all because they need to control. They need to be dominant in the relationship because they fear. And this again is about a person feeling inadequate. Narcissists, we know, try to come across as if they're perfect. They get that from the people that they're with. That's usually why that they seek out the cream of the crop. Dealing with them obviously was not going to be fun. It's going to be where you didn't really, you decided not to. This is what this says. It's like calling your bluff was the most satisfying thing. So I feel like you put up with it for a little while, but this person definitely expect you to put up with it for a lot longer than what you did. And you were like, no, I'm not, like, I already see, because I feel like it was making you sick. It's like, which is what the narcissist will do, keep you up in your head and begin to give you anxiety. So it feels so uncomfortable to be in that energy. You don't realize that you just become self-servient to them. It's a way that you become disempowered without them really having to do anything. So again, you were like, no, because I was ignored. So you didn't give me any energy. And when you were giving me energy, it was like this toxic energy. Like I was making you give me the energy, which again, that's that self arrogance that this person would actually have to like elevate themselves. And you'd be like, and them having expectations. And I think when you first got together with the spiritual connection, you had expectations, but this person had expectations. So that's why you were like, oh no, you thought because you ignored me that I was going to give you more. You thought that I was going to like chase after you. No, that's not what happened. I called your bluff and you didn't even realize that that's what I did for a long time. So you were like in your ego for a long time, not even realizing I was gone. Because like I said, this person's very self-indulgent. They weren't going to come back and apologize. They weren't going to change their behavior. So we have to say, well, where are they now? Where are they now? Like, what is the whole point of the connection? Like, what did they think? Well, they long for your kisses and your touch. So what you'll see is not uncommon, again, to see like passionate energy, almost like this person gets triggered, the abandonment, the narcissist that gets and then there's a desire that I really want you. You seem like the perfect person. So it's almost like you'll think that if this person came back, that they've changed, where It's like, no, they might again come back and say the same divine energy flows in each of us. This energy is a catalyst to our reunion. We just need to allow this energy to work its magic. So they may not be saying those words, which I doubt that they are, but it's more like I still feel the spiritual connection. It's like you walked away, you're angry. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I've gotten angry too when I've walked away, but it doesn't really mean anything. So eventually you're going to forget about being angry, and I'm going to forget about being angry. And we're just going to wind up being back together again. So there's like almost like this a little bit cocky energy, which remember, this person didn't just become a narcissist overnight. It's because people have fallen for, their games. So it's almost like they is also looking at you saying, you're not a person to hold grudges. That's not who you are. So a lot is reliant on that. I'm changing this pattern and moving forward. So I feel like, hey, here's this guy, but I feel like, they'll think that they're changing, but because they are changing, but this person would need to like change everything. They would actually have to go back to into like childhood wounds, integrate the spiritual lesson. I feel like what they're saying is, I'm not getting what I want. I still have feelings for you, but maybe I'm not going to be as hard. Maybe if you come around me, I'm going to like give a little bit more. There's a sense of them realizing that they really haven't given you an opening to even come back, to be honest with you. And that they're closed, that their heart is closed. The planets are activating us to heal and bring us closer together, surrender to the changes. So I feel like a lot is happening spiritually, meaning I don't believe that this person thinks that the planets are aligning. I don't believe that. I think that they just feel that if you're their person, that this is all happening for a reason. And what they still feel is that your energy is still around them and they still have feelings for you, regardless of what's played out. And they just feel that time is going to heal, because you won't be able to stay angry because they can't stay angry. And I feel like that's how they'll know that you're their person, which is like ridiculous. The next solstice or equinox will bring an important shift to us. And I feel like they don't come back by the winter solstice, then I'd be surprised. I feel like time has gone by so long that I feel like this person's getting impatient, because they're like, I don't even know if you still have feelings for me. I don't even know if you like really, because they know that they pushed it. They know that they pushed this energy to like the limit where you're like, I don't really care one way or the other anymore, like whether we're going to be together or not, because you really haven't given me anything. So that's not really what they did. But so being that they don't really have a sense of self, they overcompensated. It was like, I'm going to try and trigger you to get you to do what I want you to do. And in that, what you did was you did the exact opposite, which is what needed to actually happen. Most of the time when they play that little game, people tend to, dote to them. They become dutiful to them. That's not what happened. But remember, this person thought that, well, if I don't give you any energy, I won't grow an emotional bond. So I won't be dutiful to you. I'll be the one that's like, again, in full control, realizing again, that's really a second chakra imbalance. Like it's not all or nothing. It's either you're going to be so dutiful that you're going to lose yourself, or you got to be a narcissist about controlling my life. Where's your life? Again, this is making this person like change this situation. But I also feel like they know that they pushed it. So the more time that goes by, the less of a chance that you will come back, because you'll have time to think. But it's like surrender brings us together faster than resistance. It's like, no shit, Sherlock. It's like, I feel like that this person needs to be the one that surrenders. Like you're not really surrendering, you're protecting yourself. This person doesn't like your boundaries. It's again, when you first met this person, you didn't have boundaries. They ruined that version of you. That bothers them. The narcissist believes, again, they always see when they demolish the relationship. But instead of them coming and repairing they try and manipulate and strategize, which brings them further away from from having a healthy connection. So the relationship only works if you are on a low vibration. Then they can have that attachment that they so desire, but you're not doing that. I'm afraid this relationship is too good to be true, and I pull away in fear. It's like, again, I don't believe I could really have this type of relationship. Like, they would have to surrender their ego. They would have to, and obviously they have a problem with it. So, because they haven't done the healing. So it's like, I'm continuously waiting for the shoe to drop. Meanwhile, they're the person that you can't trust. You're like, it's not me, it's you. You're the person. Yeah, they don't understand that. They don't understand that it's their habits and their behaviorisms that create the toxic like environment. It's like they're asleep to what they do, which is why they just know that it keeps playing out within their relationship. So they don't believe that it really exists, that a relationship can be good, because this is all that I've lived. This is all that I've witnessed. This is all. It's like, but you're the person that is living your reality. And it's like, they're almost like, no, I'm not in charge of that. It's like, you're the one that makes that relationship be what it is. I'm accessing past life wisdom. It's helping me understand things with a new perspective. I feel like the more time that you're away from this person, do I feel like, I don't really believe that this person as that evolved, like I said, where they're like, I'm accessing spiritual wisdom. I feel like there's a lot of deja vus. I feel like because there's such a strong emotional connection and a very strong ESP connection. So there is a strong spiritual connection. I just don't know whether this person's evolved to know that that's what it is. They just know that they've never had a relationship like this before, where they haven't been able to control it, manipulate, strategize to get what they want. Which, by the way, once they get what they want, they don't want it. They usually dispose of it. The thing is, you not giving them what they want is actually what makes them like you more. So it's almost like a little game that they play, and they don't really like it because they feel like, but they like it. That's the oddity. They like it, but they don't like it. They like the challenge, but they also don't like the hold that it has on them. So there's a lot of different paradoxical energy that's coming up for this person, which obviously it makes a person to go deeper within inside of themselves, right? So it would have to be like a dynamic like that for this person to actually look and see what they do. And you holding your ground, because why would a person change? Well, they want that. It's like, that's just that simple. It's like they don't just automatically change because it's comfortable. They've gotten results. And that then they're able to live their self-fulfilling prophecy, which is, I really don't believe that this type of love exists. So I don't have to be vulnerable. But I want to hold you in my arms and feel our bodies unite as one. So it's like the passion. You say, well, what makes a person change? Passion, the fire. The fire element is the passion. When you are holding to your truth and it's making this person change, it's actually that. It's like the fire. It's the desire to be with you. It's the desire to, because your life looks good, because your life, for whatever reason, because they have this soul connection, because you're not giving them what they want. You're not making it easy. And you don't understand that the longer that you hold out, the longer and more energy this person pours into you. This person doesn't give anybody energy. That means time. They don't do that. But if by you not giving them and them really having feelings, they can't help it. So the more that they don't want to think about you, the more that they're going to think about you, because it's like a control thing. So that's where the emotional connection begins to actually grow. It's like the universe showing them you can't control love. You can't manipulate everything to get what you want. You manipulating this situation is bringing that person so far away from you. It's pushing them so far away from you, is what it's showing this person, which is why they have a lot of anxiety, which is why they're getting impatient, which is why by the next equinox, this person's coming will be back. They might not come back in a generic way, meaning they might just purposely bump into you. Again, because they still haven't really surrendered their ego, but they're getting very uncomfortable. I feel the chemistry between us, we need to trust that this energy we share will bring us back together again. And that's what I keep saying, is the passion, because that's all that you see through here. And it's because you're not giving them anything. And that's the spiritual energy. See, it's again, the passion for life that we have. But if a person is at a low vibration where they don't love themselves, where that we see that this person's insecure, how does the universe get them to raise their consciousness? They use people. They use situations and experiences to help them do so. So again, you standing your ground is making this person actually have to eat the karma. And the karma is, hey, there are karmic consequences for not treating me appropriately. And I'm going to hold your feet to the fire. This, again, excites this person, but also makes this person mad, because it's like they don't want to be held to it. They love the challenge, but they don't like the fact that you're that strong. There's a lesson to be learned from this. So again, this person is like, at the very least, realizes, and you two realize, well, you're in my life for a reason, because I can't control this situation because of the passion is too strong. And that's because of the past life connection. Otherwise, like I said, this person wouldn't clear this wound of, believing self-sabotage. The relationship's too good. I'm looking for a problem. Let me get in my own way. That's what we see here. And I don't really believe I can have love. I believe that, you'll treat me the way that I've treated you. I'm not deserving of love. There's a lot of healing that this person needs. So just because this may be a twin flame relationship, it's not ready to come into union, yet. The person is changing internally, if they are that, because twin flames are just past life karmic mates that are ready to evolve into a better version of themselves. However, if you would have given to this person, the karmic consequences would be a lot worse if you stayed in a relationship like this. What you saw was, I'm not going to stay in a connection like this, because it's like this person isn't ready, and they're not. They're starting to get ready to again, actually come towards you, but I'd give it at least another month for them to be able to come back towards you in a way to actually surrender their ego a little bit. And still, you'd need to have boundaries, because it doesn't mean that they're automatically healed. So you have to say, so what's the point of the connection? At the very least, it was to teach you. It doesn't mean that you can't be with this person. It means that you would have to be like the main person that set the rules in the relationship, have strong boundaries, don't lose yourself, because there is love there. This person just isn't caught up to where you are yet. And they may never, because if you're really invested in yourself, well, you're not going to, by the time they caught up to you, you wouldn't be there anymore. In the same place. You would want more for yourself. That's the thing. They never came in given enough. And now they may come in given enough, but there's a sense of, well, I kind of feel like you need to give more because you didn't give. So I still feel a little jilted. And that's, again, would still be bringing up things that need to be healed with inside of you. So again, the first card out is magic. Second card out, safety and security. Anchor. Protection. Optimism. Trauma. And then lately I've been wanting to also pull from the Fearless deck to see, to just get a little bit more information. Break the silence and fearless heart. So I feel like you grew up in an environment where there was no support, because again, we see like father, like child. Again, the anchor is that. So when we grow up in an environment where there was no safety, security. And I say that because we got safety and security here, right? So again, I didn't feel safe. That could be emotionally, I didn't feel safe. Psychologically, I didn't feel safe. And that could be your parent was an alcoholic, they had their own problems. It doesn't really matter why and it doesn't even mean that that was the truth. It was your perception of the truth, the child self. And so it played out within relationships where you're like, I'm the main sense of support when I get into a relationship. I'm the person that keeps it that way. So again, and that makes me like not really feel safe. It's like where I feel like I don't have, like the person that whoever I wind up with doesn't have my back. And it's like where you keep reliving the trauma over and over and over again of not feeling supported, not feeling safe, the person not giving you that emotional stability, that financial stability. They're not pulling their weight, is what this is. But you have gifts from growing up that way. Spirit says you have spiritual gifts. And so you're not utilizing them. And maybe during the time you weren't utilizing them. And part of that is your own intuition, like seeing the red flags, but then not listening, not following suit, still trying to like change it. So Spirit's saying, putting the energy into that instead of the energy into yourself. When meanwhile, you are somebody that tends to be very optimistic. You are somebody that's a gift. You have always been, regardless of the situation, where Spirit says it's like more time needed to be within inside of you, that there's needed to be like, have the courage from a place of love instead of fear. So maybe it's not so much that you didn't create your life, but you created your life the way that people told you to create your life, which is you go to school, you get a job, it's 9 to 5, then you go out and try and find somebody, where it's very like cookie cutter, and you're just always like, well, I never really get what I want. You won't get what you want because you didn't grow up in an environment that showed you that. So there's trauma there. So it's going to continue to play out within your relationships, where Spirit says this is about living from a place of love. And the only way that you can do that when you're wounded, to fully integrate the spiritual lesson, is to become love, not give this person love. This person that was a mirror of who and what you didn't get in childhood. And it's like, this is exactly what it felt like. So it's making me feel like I can't have. And Spirit says, don't make that a self-fulfilling prophecy. That's what that narcissist does. It's again, keeping you bound to a place of fear. And remember, there's only two energies, love and fear. So you're a good person, but you're attracting a narcissist because you're holding the same energy as the narcissist. The narcissist came into your life to show you your worth. Someone that wants to dominate you, wants to control you, they know that you're not worth shit. Trust me. They know that you're worth a lot more than that, which is why they want to control it, which is why they want to dominate it. So Spirit's saying this is about having a fearless heart and not recreating the same life experience. It's about more or less banking on yourself, pouring into yourself, becoming yourself. It's like, and you break the silence where you're able to like express your feelings. I feel like that when this person comes back into your life, it's about telling this person. Now, I feel like the reason why you would have to do that is, number one, closure, but number two, because you weren't allowed to. express yourself to the parents that did this, or again, the environment. The child self never got a chance to express themselves. They kind of just had to eat it. So the universe has kind of orchestrated the same type of experience to help you go back to that childhood, to help you confront that narcissistic parent, so that you could again express your feelings, express, um, speak your truth. Speak your truth. This person already knows your truth. You're not really doing it for them. You're doing it for yourself. And so that it's, again, it's a way to integrate the spiritual lesson. You have to embody the new consciousness in order to create different. Otherwise, you keep creating the same sort of undesirable life experiences where you're getting people that want to come into your life and act like you're not worthy when really you are. Spirit says, though, are you acting like you are? But you're not if you're giving more to a person that wasn't giving to you. And that's, again, they were karmic. They felt familiar. There is love there, but this person needs so much healing that their love is distorted. And so Spirit's saying, just like your parent, just like that person that raised you, that did love you. That's the way that they loved. Spirit says, only my love's perfect. I'm the energy of the universe and I am unconditional love. Everybody else tends to have, you know, expectations, and they have ownership, again, which that's a distorted type of love. And that's because the person comes from a place of lack. They don't believe they're deserving of love. So they're so afraid that you'll abandon them that they don't either let you in, or when they finally let you in, they own you. It's a second chakra imbalance, which is, I can't help it. I have anxiety. I become manic. I get triggered a lot. And that's because they need to go back and do the actual inner child healing. And for you, it was for you to actually be able to go back and visit that traumatic situation and speak your truth to that parent that possibly terrified you. You know, it's like they were a narcissist. They got angry. They controlled. I felt like I had no power. Where Spirit says, that's why I had to recreate the experience for you to learn how to work with that energy. Otherwise, that imprint, would continue to pull people to you that had that energy. And that might play out as a boss. It could play out as like a friend. It could play out in multiple types of relationships, not just your most intimate ones. And you don't want to deal with that. You want to feel protection, and protected comes from getting strong within yourself, from creating the security within yourself. You had to reparent that. And that's what Spirit's saying, is like, no one's going to help you through this situation. You have to reparent yourself with it, unfortunately. But you're going to see yourself completely different. And that is how you integrate the spiritual lesson. It's not by running from it or just saying, oh, well, whatever. It's like, it happened. Spirit says, no, I'm going to give you the opportunity to say something to this person. It's like, because they weren't fair. It's, again, they weren't fair, and it's their karma that they lose you. That's really what it is. Just point blank, period, the universe says. It's like, whether whether you do right by you or whether you don't do right by you, the universe says, I still will always collect my due. But you actually did right by you. So, I'm also going to give you an opportunity to get to see yourself differently, make you feel more powerful. Like, hey, I don't really need to be afraid anymore of this energy. No matter what energy comes my way, I am in full control. And then I'll answer that in a second, Sheila. And positive action. I focus on the beauty in me and I find silence. I live in honor and present by doing what I can do now. What I cannot change, I let go and entrust to God. And Spirit says that, Sheila, is what you would do. You take positive action towards yourself. You fill your own cup up, because the narcissist wants to see you fail. The narcissist doesn't really ever let go of anybody. Know that. It's like they may not give you any energy, but they again might still spy on you or stalk you or can find out. So the way you get back at a narcissist is you live your best life. You pour into yourself. You become yourself, because then the universe conspires to bring you people, situations, and experiences that you desire, that are more in alignment with who you are today, where you want to go today, what you want today. So again, when that narcissist comes rolling around, hey, but they might not reach out to you, but hey, you're in the store, and now you're in the store and the narcissist comes in and you're with your new boyfriend, or you're with like, or they turn on the TV and there you are, you got your own TV show. How the hell did that happen? Or you're living your life. You're living the passion of your life, because the narcissist already feels insecure. They don't have an identity. They tried to project that hurt, that pain onto you. So if you sit there and you're like living that life as if they did, it's almost like they win. However, when you pour into yourself, then what winds up happening is it's like, well, the universe is going to conspire to bring you things like signs and synchronicities, to help you on your journey, to help you to show that you are supported, you are loved, that the feeling of not being loved that this person made you feel, they couldn't have made you feel that way unless you felt that way before, is what Spirit is saying. No one has the potential to be able to make you feel anyway unless that wound was there. So they brought that to the table for you. But then it's about being grounded, investing in yourself, and yes, absolutely looking for the signs and symbols that are helping you along your path, because that's the universe guiding you. That's when you're living your bliss. That's when, again, when the student is ready, the teacher appears, when we're like childlike and when we're just feeding our passions and we don't have any expectation, that we're able to be in that energy. And then the universe conspires to bring us exactly what we want. We don't even need to say what we want, because the universe knows what we want more than we know what we want. So there's a sense of that this person showed you that you didn't invest enough within yourself. So when you do that, you change the dynamic of the situation where that person gets knocked off their high horse because, hey, as long as your life looks like shit, I didn't lose anything, Sheila, right? Again, the narcissist is like, well, again, they want to stay in that arrogant energy. But hey, if your life doesn't look like that and you're actually having a good old time, well, now that pisses them off. It's like, well, I just missed out on that. I could have been right there. See, that person's on TV. That person I could have been, because the narcissist, remember, you're an extension of the narcissist. So, but the narcissist knows that they're not really deserving of. So you step into your true self. You show this person who you are, not who they projected who you are. It's like where you say, no, that's who you are. That's who you believe. You're projecting again. And you're not saying that to them. You're actually showing that through your actions. And that hurts more, because now that this person now has to look at themselves and their self-fulfilling prophecy that the sun and the stars and the moon came out their asshole. Well, again, now they have to see themselves as who they truly are. They can't look at themselves on that pedestal. They can't act as if they're so perfect. They have to, again, look and see they lost a good thing. They lost a good thing. And they probably will never show you that. You won't get that satisfaction. But let me tell you, you'll feel it. And you'll feel their energy eventually dissipate from yours, because they won't be able to feed off your energy anymore. So now they'll go to, like, again, lower hanging fruit that they can actually drain, where you're not going to allow that. And that's why Spirit's saying it's like you have the power to create shift within the connection, regardless of what the person is showing you. It's like that they want you to stay in this energy. You need to ask yourself, why are you allowing them to keep you in this energy? And really what it is that they signify passion. They signify Love, they signify, excitement, where spirit says that you can do all that yourself. And you actually need to do it all yourself first before giving this person the energy. It's okay if you're doing that and then you meet a person along the way, because you'll have then at least boundaries. You won't always be there. You won't be pouring so much into that person. So unconsciously, you won't be saying, hey, you're so much more important than I am. Because that's why that pretty much happened. The narcissist likes that. It's like they come around, you drop what everything because you want to treat them the way you would want to be treated. Hey, spirit says we don't play that game here. It was like, you're like, what? I'm not supposed to act nice to someone that acts nice. And spirit says they didn't earn it. It's like, why are you treating them like it's like you're treating them on like they're more important in your life. And you might say, well, how am I doing that? Just when they reach out to me. And spirit says, if you are really pouring into yourself and having a love affair with yourself, you'd be talking to multiple people. New opportunities would be happening all the time. This person will come into your life and breadcrumb you every other week. You'd be like, that's just a fucking little breadcrumb. I'm gonna give you a little breadcrumb back. And if I even have time to give you a breadcrumb, I might be like, it's not even worth my time to give you that breadcrumb. It's like, and that's teaching that person, you're not giving enough. I know my worth. And that's really when you dig down to it. It's like when we grow up in that type of dynamic, we tend to like overgive to the people that come into our life, to the point that we don't recognize until it's too late. Hey, you didn't really give me anything here except for a fucking breadcrumb. It's like, because I kept expecting, because I felt the connection, and spirit says that's where you went wrong. This isn't about what you feel. Yeah, there's a connection, but most people want to, their cake and to eat it too. So you don't know what you're dealing with. So you create your boundaries first by pouring into yourself. Then you can see a mile away, because the person's not so close up to the picture that you're only seeing what you want to see. You're seeing everything. And that's when we have a wound, we really tend to look at people and see what we want to see. And that's like I said, where our energy goes wrong. So if I haven't heard from him since breakup in January, yeah, but then your energy is still open to this person, where you're like, I'm waiting for them to come back. I'm waiting for them. And if you don't think that they know that, they do. ESP through the heart and mind. This person is a past life karmic mate. They're like, I know you from like 10,000 years ago. So honey, you're going to be waiting like a bit longer, because we have a long history. So since January, that's not really that much time, in considering if you've known a person lifetimes. You have to cut the energy and, like I said, live your best life. And trust me, if you're living your best life, it's always when you're not thinking of the person that all of a sudden, like, that person pops up on Facebook, or they pop up like where you bump into them, or whatever it is. You're not thinking about them. You're still open to this person because this person hurt you. And you're like, well, they hurt me. I want them to like come back and rectify. But they didn't. Spirit says they're not going to do that, because that would mean that they would have to take responsibility, and they would have to have done healing. Don't take it like this is a reflection of you. It's a reflection on how they've learned to survive. So you cut the cord by pouring into yourself. Your mind, what is the cord made up of? Your energy is of thought and emotion. What transcends time and space? How do you do like out of body experience? It's all, again, you're using your mind and your emotion. You visualize. So you can visualize yourself like cutting the cord, but then in order for that cord to really be cut, you have to put your mind and your emotion towards something else. And that's what spirit is saying. This is what the problem is. This is how this person got away with what they got away with. It's just because they're out of your life doesn't mean that the cord is cut. The cord becomes cut when you learn the spiritual lesson and you embody the new consciousness, and that is to create a whole new life. Remember, the kingdom of heaven's inside of you. If you can imagine it, you can create it. And Spirit says, what are you imagining? Are you imagining that this person's going to come back and be someone that they're not? It's like, or are you imagining that you're living a life that's really fulfilling? And the only way that we can really imagine that is to embody it, is to become it, is to that is the way. Because when you're on that walk and embodying that new consciousness, the universe is conspiring to bring you what you need. So that is what's changing your mind and your heart. You're not changing your mind and your heart. You're seeing you're supported. And you're seeing supported because the universe is bringing you the people, situations, and experiences to help you get over that person. And that's why I'm saying, otherwise, you can't cut that energy, because your brain is like, no, I'm not going to get rid of that person, because they represent unconditional love. They represent passion for me. They represent, so the mind's like, I'm not going to let go of that person until you replace it with something else. You know that the law is, we don't just get rid of negative energy. We don't know how to do that, Spirit says. It's that you have to transmute it. You have to integrate it. You have to be the alchemist of your life. You're not being the alchemist of your life if that cord is still there. So you change it. And you change it by becoming yourself, and you embody it. And so understand that might be like, oh, why is this really uncomfortable? And Spirit says, well, now you have to deal with the anxiety. Remember, if a parent brought you up that way, then you're dealing with your own healing, which is like, wait a minute, because you'd be like, well, why the hell didn't I do this to begin with? And Spirit says, because there's anxiety of failure, anxiety of not thinking that you need to know things before they actually happen. That Spirit says, you don't. It takes a mustard seed. I make that multiply. We're all David going up against Goliath. God says, please don't do my job. Do your job. Be like childlike. I am the universe. I will bring you everything that you need. The universe is abundant. You have the universe inside of you because you have the Holy Spirit inside of you, because you are the energy of love. And that energy transcends all time and space. If you are not coming from that level of consciousness, you need to heal, but you heal it by becoming yourself and having a love affair in your life, so that the universe can always conspire to bring you more things that, put your energy in a space of happiness and at peace, because you're seeing the support. And that is what cuts the psychic cord, because now that person is trying to tap into you and they're like, I can't feel you. No, they can't feel you because you're over there having a love affair in your life. So then they become curious of saying, well, why isn't that person around? Or they just move out of your life. Can a narcissist change or show real love? I think narcissists, it's not that they don't love. It's just they tend to be very selfish. They're selfish. It's all about them. It's not, a narcissist will only change if they want to change. They don't change by you saying change. And understand, it usually takes a lot of things to happen, not just a person walking away from them. It's like usually a person has to go through a complete dark night of the soul where there's an ego death, where they're the phoenix and now they're just the ashes, and now they got to start all over. So again, if they've learned and now they meet somebody that actually is in alignment, they're going to follow suit. But understand, a lot of times in those type of relationships, it's really difficult. And it's also, you're growing, you're evolving. And a lot of times we don't grow and evolve at the same rate. That's why it's important to kind of be with someone that's on the same energy vibration. Narcissists are not. It's again, they're like depleted. They're like children. They're children that were like abused still. Remember, emotionally not available because they checked out, they disassociated, they detached at a certain age, which was usually somewhere back in childhood. And that's what you're dealing with. So it's very frustrating to be in a connection with a narcissist. I don't want to say that no narcissist can change, because I'm not God, but It's not usually one person. It's a combination of many different people with the same spiritual lesson. And then eventually the narcissist pays karmic consequences for being a narcissist, where their life like looks a mess. Like they could go through a divorce, or they go through something where they lose their money, they have an ego death, and whatever they built from that state of consciousness, they also lose, because it wasn't built from their higher stuff. It wasn't in alignment with God's laws. So the universe says, I'm doing a clean sweep. This person is going through a phoenix moment. They're going to be like, they're going to set themselves on fire. They have to, because it's, again, the universe says, I always come back and collect my due. However, are you going to want to take somebody back and be the fix-it lady? Gloria, no, it's like you wouldn't want that, because it's like, again, you'd have to teach this person on how you want to be treated, which means that they don't know, and they don't know how to do that. And you get triggered all the time. The whole point is, you don't need to do it. Like, there's a part of you that still wants to hold on to that energy. And that's what you really need to know, that anyone can change, but it's like, if you love yourself enough, you're not going to sit there and try and get this person to change. It's like you would know if they changed, because you'd be living your life and this person would come in and actually match. Lost his wife when he suddenly died in 2000. His mother was schizophrenic, and he admitted to disconnect from her emotion. Well, again, so you were dealing with somebody that has a lot of shit. And they haven't done any of the healing. And in the Hey Zombie, so that's the thing. So they, again, don't really accept love. It's like, I don't believe that it can last. It's too good to be true. I'm waiting for the shoe to drop. But then if I walked around and looked for something all day, we see what we look for over time. It makes us crazy. And that's what sounds like this person. And so keeping you stuck up in your head, because of their fear. Why would you want to be in a connection with that? It's about knowing your worth, to say, there's so many other people out there. If I'm still emotionally attached to this person, there must be spiritual lessons that I need to learn. And I need to, again, embody a new energy. And that means that I need to go out and find myself. It's like, if you're still connected, that's the brain also likes to do what's safe, right? The reptilian mind, the survival mind says, I'd rather do what's safe. But what's safe in this situation makes you stay in a place of like disempowerment, makes you stay in a place that's not healthy. So that's why I'm saying it's almost like you got to go through the experience to recognize what you're doing, and then you have to embody the new energy. And then, like I said, the universe will bring you people and situations to help you get over that person. The key is not to repeat the same mistakes. Otherwise, you wind up in a karmic loop. So as long as you keep on creating yourself and feeding yourself, well, that's not going to happen. Again, because you're doing something different. All right, guys. If no one has any other questions, I am going to go, because I actually have a meeting at 1:30 today. And I'll be back on later. Thank you all for your sharing your energy with me. And I love you guys. And I'll talk to you guys later. All right. Bye.